You should be very good at this, right?
No.
Not at all?
No, I don't think it's something that ever gets easy.
Okay. So I can be awkward.
Yeah,
that
please.
gives me permission.
Just be exactly what you're feeling.
Okay. Is that red dot on? Okay.
Yeah, it is.
I'm sitting here with Natalie Schepman.
Hi.
And she is 1/3 of the band Joseph.
Yes.
And she's here in Portland, Oregon, and was kind enough to let me into her home and
literally doing nothing with my day. So
I texted her about a week ago and just asked her if I could ask her some questions about actually like everything. her life as a singer-songwriter before Joseph, what it's like being on the road now, going from being the opener to the headliner, and these huge shifts that have happened in the last year. And she's going to answer them. Well, most of them. You can always say, not that one.
Okay, great.
And we don't have to do that one.
I have answers. They may not be good ones, but... Also, questions are, like, my favorite thing in the world. So this is, like, a gift to me.
Oh. Well, thank you for answering. I have lots of questions, and I usually don't know who to ask them to.
And it's weird when you live in a weird niche world, and you come back to this world, and you're not, like, talking about it. So getting to talk about it, especially the process of it happening, is so nourishing to me. So, anyway.
That's really good. So, creeped on a ton of your old YouTube videos.
You did.
Well, actually, I did that a while ago. When...
Like Dearborn stuff?
Pre-Dearborn.
Oh,
well, or not pre-Dearborn. Maybe, like, just...
The Natalie Closner stuff?
Yes. So,
oh, no.
No. And I'm curious, what is the first song you wrote? And then what is the first song you learned?
What do you mean first song I learned? Like somebody else's song?
It could be someone else's song, or maybe you just went straight for the...
Interesting.
Like writing your own, like the first song you've ever played was...
Oh my gosh. Okay, great question. When I was first learning guitar, I was just like, my friend was teaching me and I was learning chords. And so before that I could play a little bit of piano. So I had written a few songs. But before that, when I was in high school, I was like, I really want to write a song. And I just came up with a friend who played guitar. I didn't play anything at that time. And I was like a senior or something, and my friend played guitar and I sang a melody and he figured out the chords to it.
Does this happen to be one of the people in your video?
Oh my gosh. What videos have you seen?
Is there a guy named Matthew?
Oh, Matt.
Is it Matt? No.
Oh, no, it's not Matt. Matt recorded my first EP.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
So that was like after graduating college, and like there's still a video on the internet, which you can cut this out or not.
No, I'm not.
But there are some extreme like moose knuckling pants in it. Like, it's bad. There's like a shot of Matt's crotch. It's like it's like, why did the videographer think that was a good idea?
It was edgy because they're like, I don't know.
But it's like, it's all there, you know, like in the frame. Okay, so your question. The first song I ever wrote was in high school, and it was with a friend who played guitar. And to answer your question, the first song I ever played, I did a lot of like, there used to be this store called Christian Supply. Are you familiar?
Dude, it was on Division.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember driving past it to my sister's apartment. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so when I was a kid, like, you know, junior high and high school, I wanted to sing. And so what you could do is you could go to Christian Supply and get the background tracks to Christian songs and sing them in church as like the special music. So that's what I did.
Oh, I love it. You're like, special music, obviously.
Duh. No, I mean like the moment of like giving the offering or whatever. Yeah. So the first one was either probably Jackie Velasquez or
oh my gosh,
Ginny Owens or Nicole Nordman or something like that.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
That's way back.
Yeah. I remember getting her CD at Borders. Jackie is it Velasquez?
Yeah. I think it's Kez. I think you're right. Velasquez.
And then I insisted, I'm like, I have to sing your song for a talent show. But then, like, I think I got too nervous or something. I'm not sure.
What was it?
Did she sing I Get On My Knees?
Yes! I get on my knees Yes. Oh my gosh.
I'm really grateful that my family was too poor to record it. Those are those moments I'm like, oh, praise be that Dad didn't own like a camcorder or anything that could have recorded it in a
You need that
good
for
fashion.
posterity.
Yeah, it's here.
Dang it.
I have it. It's very vivid. And
Yeah.
so that's enough. So that was the first song you learned. Do you remember the first song you wrote? Or at least that
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I do.
Yeah.
It was called That Girl. And it was this, I'm such a, I was such a little Christian kid, so this is very revealing, but I was at camp, and there was this girl that went to camp that everyone kind of had their friend groups, and this girl was new, and just kind of having a hard time in life or something, and it was the weirdest thing because kids just can be so mean, and, nobody included her, and I was like, there's just this is going to make me sound like I'm such a good person, but I just was very motivated by doing the right thing all the time. So I was like, okay, I want to hang out with this person, and then I wrote this song about who is that girl. Okay, I really over dramatized it. Okay, who is that girl, ragged and dirty?
Oh gosh,
I can't turn away. Pretend that I don't see, and then this whole turnaround in the chorus where later on I say, I am that girl, ragged and dirty. The whole idea is God, sees us all the same, and we need to, not judge anyone. Is or leave anyone out is the idea.
Well, your parents did a really good job of making sure that was your heart. So as maybe painful as it is to look back and be like, I thought that this was so...
Oh, yeah.
Unique.
Oh, yeah.
The first one to have thought this.
Oh, my gosh.
It still is very evident, or makes it evident that was really strong in you. Whereas it wasn't your first thought to, write about, I don't know, cocaine. So, I guess it's good.
I had never heard that word in my life at that point. Yeah. I would not have known, I was very, this was the world that I lived in at the time. That girl.
You kind of already answered this, but what first got you writing? It sounded like it was a lot of you watched and you responded, and it was. But what was that first? What clicked that made you think I want to write my songs instead of just singing the backup?
Yeah, that was different because it was I went to college and, my world really opened up musically because I realized there was all this music that all my friends had been listening to their whole lives, the Beatles and James Taylor and Simon and Garfunkel and all of these just classic artists. I mean, we listened to oldies, so we had I had some Motown references and stuff, but not just general pop culture. I'd kind of, and it's my parents have since apologized for some of this, but we were very in this one world, and so I remember it was the bands that really grabbed me, that really wowed me, especially from the writing standpoint. One was Ray LaMontagne, the song Empty. There's this line in it where it says, it's in the second verse, it's, lay your blouse across the chair, let fall the flowers from your hair, and kiss me with that country mouth so plain. Outside the rain is tapping on the leaves. To me it seems like they're applauding us, the quiet love we make. Ugh. I can so ramble as beau.
No.
Sorry.
No, I like this. I just didn't want you to be bored.
Are you kidding me?
So that was a relief to me when you're I enjoy answering questions okay, good.
Yeah,
good,
I love it too much and then I talk too much.
No, I don't know how to answer questions in short form. I was thinking that you probably don't, because of how much now it has to go through your producer after you guys, and then if you're collaborating with anyone, it would make sense that by the time it gets to our ears, that a lot of people have listened to it and figured out, is this what we want to say? Is this what we mean? So maybe regret's too strong, because regret would make it feel like someone forced you to
oh my gosh,
say something. And has that ever felt, especially as you guys have gotten bigger, how do you do that back and forth between we want to sing what we believe and what we want people to feel versus what, I don't know where the pressure comes from. I don't know that world well enough, but you do.
Yeah, no, I think that, yeah. It's weird how when we're in this thing that we've chosen to do, how songs become like people kind of that you hang out with every day. And I think that we each, all three of us, have a different relationship with each song at any given moment. Like, you know, we'll have these experiences of just like, okay, this song isn't really hitting me, you know, right now. And so I think that there are times where we go, I'm not connecting to this. And that would be the closest thing to regret. Not to say, you know, I think if anything, it's like, sometimes I worry that there are times when I feel like I don't have answers, but some of our songs have answers in them. And I'm like, it doesn't feel very honest from me. Like, for instance, White Flag is like, it's this declaration that requires so much spitfire, and like, you have to like embody this like red face, like, I'm not going to give up. Like, you have to say that. And it takes a lot to believe that every time. You know, because sometimes it's like, I feel really weak right now, or I feel really sad, but then just deciding like, okay, I'm going to embody this right now is like a very real mental work to do. But I think as far as like writing something that we mean versus like what we think someone might want to hear is a constant dialogue with all of us, because, you know, you have the thing of like, you do start to build up an audience and all of a sudden you see what they respond to. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, cool. I'm just going to keep doing that. I want to write more like that. Or there's this side of like, okay, there's this artistic nature of writing that might not be like perfectly true to the pop form, or it's gonna have like more abstract lyrics instead of direct, or we're not gonna actually repeat the chorus 3 times or whatever, right? And then the commercial sustainability form, right, which is like what's going to reach a broader audience. And I remember when we first did this last album, I Will Know You're Not, and we had songs, for instance, a song called SOS that was just very directly like the pop form, you know? And we had feelings with our parents where we were talking about it like, is this like not being true to who we are? And my dad had a great thought. He was like, you know, this is your front door. Like, these songs are the front door, and if you want someone to come in to your living room or your dining room or your backyard, like, you want to present a front door that feels welcoming and inviting. And I felt like that was really great. In a way to go, you know, we mean this. And I also love the idea of being versatile and like having many different kinds of songs. But you do have to constantly check, like, do I mean this? Because faking it is like death.
And to have to fake it publicly so often, I feel with what I do know of you, I could see your eyes almost just tweaking out like, I don't mean this. Right. That was really beautiful that your dad, and I'm assuming your mom, could be present for you guys like that. Oh yeah. And to know that was like a deep concern. Like, have we lost something of ourselves if we delve into this other realm to make it more accessible? And
right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It was really cool to hear that encouragement, because we liked the songs. We like pop music, you know, and what they were saying we meant. So it was really reassuring.
When do you know when to stick to form and when to do something else?
I just feel like it has to do with the song. Like, for instance, I was just working on something yesterday with Andrew that I was like, this is a little weird. This doesn't, like, is this gonna have maybe this doesn't even have a chorus. Like, and then I was like, maybe this is like gonna be this musical build up into this moment, and then we just have like a verse and a bridge and then it's done, you know? But it's just, I feel like if you feel a spark with a song, then you just see what feels right for the song, maybe. Yeah.
Apart from those songs that you do in the 15-minute Heart Overflowed, is it often like just in pieces over weeks, over months, or I mean, I guess like you're saying, every song seems to come about differently. But
yeah, you know what though? Now that you're saying that, I'm like, most songs you kind of know right from the start it's gonna go somewhere or not. And like it's rare.
Hold on to it.
Yeah, it's rare that I'll do this all the time, where I'll go back through my voice memos and listen to all the ideas, and it's rare that an old idea will spark new possibility.
Yeah.
It's usually that it's like, oh, if it didn't go anywhere, it didn't go anywhere. And then the ones that you really feel end up being finished quickly.
Because you're excited about them.
Yeah.
There's something about it. Do you write on your phone? Well, you leave voice memos, it sounds like. When you write it, do you type it? Do you write it?
That's so funny. I just got a notebook because I was like, I hate typing on my phone. But just also the nature of just like riding in the van all the time is I have been kind of writing on my phone a lot. Just like,
because it's efficient.
I get some idea or something, and then I'll just like go into the notes section and just like write it down. But I just got a notebook because I like that so much better. And like crossing out, seeing what the original idea was, and then where the new idea, you know, like carrots and like things like that. It's so much better.
Or crossing off, singing it the new way, but realizing you left the old form. Like, why do I keep that portion there? Do you have anything in your note section on your phone that's on an album right now? Like, is it strange to like go back and be like, you literally know the origin of this, obviously because you wrote it, but to see it on your phone and to see it on an album, like crazy, that it made it there.
It is crazy to see that. I was listening to an interview with, I think her name's Annie from St. Vincent, and she was saying how it would be her worst nightmare if her voice memos were ever published, and like her unfinished things. But I find that like, I love those. I would love to listen to her unfinished voice memos. Are you kidding me? Like, and I would love, it's like, I wish people could be let in on that too, because it's such a different thing to be a person trying to find where the song is going than it is to like present the song, you know? And I like both for different reasons when you listen back.
If you weren't a singer-songwriter, well, you are, obviously, do you see yourself ever doing music in a different way, where you weren't necessarily writing your music? I'm trying to think of like
being
the soul,
like an artist,
even that I've heard in your voice in some of your solo stuff, even before you were with your sisters, and it's still very present. I hear it in your current work. But would you ever see yourself doing something like that?
That's so interesting. I don't know. I mean, it's all, I have so much excitement and hopes for this iteration of music, and it also is going to be really complex as the years go on to see how the three of us continue on, like everyone's, and how we do it. I have no idea. I could ramble
that
through.
Was not at all like, when are you gonna ditch your sisters? I'm totally
no, I know.
I think I'm imagining, because you have your instrument.
Oh, sure.
Like, what it would be like
just singing.
You singing, and have you like ever imagined yourself, even when you were younger, doing music, but doing it in a different form? Because even like growing up listening to R&B artists and so on, realizing like, I wanted to be Monica or Mariah or whatever the case, and then people are like, who are your influences? I'm like, oh, this is not going to make sense.
Yeah, sure.
Because if you were to look at the performers or the artists, like how they did it is very different than someone standing up on stage with a guitar.
Totally.
And so I'm just curious, was there ever like a vision when you were little, like, it's going to be me and my mic, or I'm going to be...
Yes. Oh, yeah, because I think I didn't... Yes, I think I figured I would, but I don't know. Yeah, same. I mean, like, I feel like one of the biggest influences of wanting to play music was Sister Act 2.
Yeah.
Like, that whole thing of just, like, kids...
Was that the Lauryn Hill...
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And it doesn't feel any less like an influence, even though it hasn't translated into looking like that exactly.
Right. Well, and I was gonna say, like, what you were saying of, you know, that wouldn't make sense that these are my influences, but at the same time, there are elements to what they're doing that isn't just the stylistic way in which they're singing, you know, that is an influence on it. Like the idea of like meaning it.
Yeah.
You know, like that comes from that.
Yeah. Yeah. That, the piano scene.
Oh my gosh.
Where we would sing along with it thinking that, wow, we're like really close. Like it sounds... I feel like we turn this off.
Oh, his eyes on the sparrow. Yeah.
Sound just like her, and then you turn it off and I'm like breathing in the wrong spots or something, but I can't seem to...
Yeah, exactly.
One more time.
Yeah.
So, going from the opener to the headliner, what has been the biggest shift?
It's interesting because I think you'll always be both. You'll always be an opener and a headliner because, you know, there's always going to be someone ahead of you and there's always going to be someone behind you. So it's interesting because it makes me wonder the question of like which opening, like because there was the beginning where like I couldn't book a show. Like I had an electronic press kit. I was like emailing and following up with these venues. Like we would open up for someone, and then I would follow up and be like, we'd love to open for any of your national touring acts anytime. Like we're here. Didn't hear back. Like all of these, it just never. And so to go from that to after getting involved in like the Seattle music scene and like the Fremont Abbey and like songwriters in the round and meeting different people through open mic stuff and everything, then getting on their bills, you know, like being the opener for that was insane because it was that moment where we're playing in a real club, you know, like we're playing a real show. I'll never forget one of the first shows we ever did was at the Crocodile in Seattle. And we were the first of 4. So it was like, you know, it was like not...
Opener of the opener.
Exactly. And the band, the Cellar Doors, their name, was so kind to have us be a part of that. And all of those opportunities felt incredible to be like, you know, and just the way that the Seattle music scene in particular really just started bolstering us up and embracing us and like the Fremont Abbey giving us shows and making it easy to book as like an independent person without an agent and all this stuff. It was so exciting. Yeah. It was so exciting to do that. And then to play the Doug Fir, like that was so crazy for me because I'd been to so many shows there and I'd seen Leon LaHavis and, you know, Little Green Cars and these artists from across the world who were coming and playing for, you know, I forget what their cap is. They're like 250 or 300 people in Portland, Oregon. Like, and then to be the person on that stage was incredible. Like to be in the green room and like, you know, man, it's crazy. I don't even know how to describe it. But then as you go along, you know, everything becomes more complicated and more wonderful. But like, I think I always feel thrill opening because there's no pressure, you know, like all you have to do is surprise people because they don't expect anything from you, you know, like, so you get to go up there and worst case scenario, people go, I didn't really care that much, you know, because there's no skin off your back. You're not selling tickets, any of that. And best case is they're like, wow, I was so shocked. I wasn't expecting that. It was so great. And that's such a thrilling feeling, you know? And everyone that we've gotten to open for has been just mind-blowingly kind and welcoming and warm and taught us so much. So, so there's that. And then headlining is I'll tell you both ways about it because it is the most amazing thing ever. No, I was checking. I was like, is it still recording? You don't have to look. Could you please when you answer,
I'll monitor.
Could you move
there.
Yeah, there we go.
Hold your face like that. Come on, Natalie.
Oh my god.
No, go for it. I just want to make sure it's recording.
Okay, great. It's like headlining is like, for instance, it's incredible. Now we have we're averaging anywhere from like, you know, 500 or probably like 300 to 1,000 people coming to a show singing the words, like bringing their whole selves, like that is a crazy feeling. Like to just look out and do, like Thalia Hall in Chicago for me was crazy because it was like, and it wasn't, you know, we didn't sell it out, but the room looked amazing.
Is it hard not to get emotional when you're standing there? Because I would think, this is me assuming, that just the years of pushing and trying again and pushing, and to stand there and have someone sing back your lyrics and go, you know it. It's crazy. You know the song. Like,
it's crazy. Yes. And just that feeling of like, oh, this doesn't belong to me anymore. Like, this is, you paid money so that you could experience something that was yours. You know? Like that thing of, oh, we hear these different stories of like what the songs meant to people. And it's so crazy to realize that I'm a part of someone else's life in that way. And they're singing that song, and me looking at, there was this crazy moment on this last tour where there was this girl to my left, and she was singing along to a brand new song that we released the demo of on the latest EP. And she was singing the second verse. Like, I was like, no one learns the second verse.
I'm still trying to remember.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like of this brand new song. And I looked at her, and she was mouthing it, and it hit me so hard in the chest, just like, oh, I can't believe that I get to participate in this. Like, this person felt something from this to the point where she internalized it enough that she memorized it, and she's embodying it. Like, and there's also this sense of like, you know, it can be hard work to go up there and like mean every single thing every night for an hour and 15 minutes. And when you see people meaning it more, you play off of that, and you're even more present, you know, in the moment. So it's insane. It's insane. But then, of course, what comes with that, and not to end on the bad thing, why did I end on the bad thing? But just that selling tickets is hard. Like, and you just want to be that band that just has a sold out tour all the time. And we, you know, we'll have like, on a 30-date tour, we'll have like 7 shows that are sold out or something. And then the rest will be like between 35 probably and 70% full. So it's hard not to get stressed out by that. Yeah. Knowing that you've built something that not only is employing like people, but is part of a business endeavor. Yeah. For everyone on your team, your agent and your management, and you're in the venue and everything.
So how do they, like, what responsibility do you guys have? How does that pressure fall on you guys?
I mean, technically none, because at that point, you know, technically our only job is to make good music.
Oh, just totally leaked.
Oh, dude. So leaked everywhere. And so it was that funny moment of just like, okay, guys, it's gonna feel intimate to say the least, you know? And just, but it's that talk of going, I'm gonna honor and respect the people who did show up here by giving everything that I have and being present for whoever is here and just responding to whatever's in the room. And so it just takes like mental work and personal work to be, because you're not gonna feel the same energy as you would, you know, 800 people like buzzing around, and like that feeling of just like something cool is happening here, you know? Yeah. And so you kind of have to create it. But
that's a huge mental game to play on the spot while you're still trying to make sure that your music is worthwhile. Yeah. I like to be present for that too. Yeah. When you were solo, what is the smallest group that you ever played for? And not like a intention like my mom and dad in the living room kind of thing, but where you showed up for a gig or something. Yeah. And was there ever like a you and the bartender moment, or or when it's like someone's auntie who showed up, you're like, oh yeah, it's almost worse when there's one. Yeah. Now you're gonna tell people.
When I first started, after I had been in Nashville, my friends and I moved to LA right after we graduated college. And I was like, just needed to practice playing out with the guitar. And so I would go to these shows that were kind of like showcase, like any new artist would go, and like I would not invite my friends because I was, you know, embarrassed, and I just needed practice, like playing songs. And there were definitely times, I mean, you hear comedians talking about open mics where it's only the other comedians in the crowd, and absolutely that was the case. Like,
everyone's cheering themselves on.
Exactly.
Dude, your turn.
Exactly. That was like, there was this little bar in Santa Monica, I can't remember the name of it, but it happened there all the time. And I would always drink Coronas, and to this day, like, drinking Coronas and, like, you know, reminds me of that experience. And then on my, like, house show tour that I did, I played at Johnny Carino's Italian restaurant. Like, it's like a chain. And I played in the bar.
Like an Olive Garden? No, wait.
Yeah, it's essentially an Olive Garden.
Yes!
And
That
I
is so wonderful.
Played in the bar, and there's like a sports game going on above my head, and I don't even think they muted it, you know, like, and I'm just playing in the corner, and people will cheer, and I'll go, yes, and then it's like, not for me.
So currently that's like where I reside, and why it's making me laugh is like not turning off the TV.
Oh my gosh.
Or getting paid in weird ways.
Oh my
where there
gosh.
is payment, but then could we also pay the last part like in a gift card? You're like, yes, but not next time.
We did a pizza gig in Sandy.
Yes.
Wait, Sandy Hearth.
Okay, so did
was
you
the name
live
of
in
it?
Sandy?
We grew up in Estacada, so
Okay.
yeah. But we did this gig at Sandy Hearth. They were so sweet. They kept having us back, but the money was $100 and like free pizza and beer, which is a great deal.
Yes.
But the first time we went there to do it, they didn't think about like having a PA. So it was just completely unplugged. And this is just like your everyday pizza place. So we were just in the corner singing like while people were like eating their dinner.
I feel so... Actually, I don't feel bad anymore. I used to feel bad because I thought it sounded diva-like to say.
Oh, gosh.
I would recommend having a PA system. Like, no, wait, we just want it unplugged. Like, but now I look
that's
like
not
the
what
chick
that
who just
means.
showed up.
Yeah.
I know, it's not unplugged from everything. Like, you won't hear me. And then you'll be like, what is she doing?
Yeah.
Sit down, honey.
Oh my
like,
god.
you're still going. I'm like, I was hired, I think. I get a free pizza still, right? Like,
That's terrible.
well, the second time, did they have a PA system? Or did they do something?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Because I think they realized, like,
You can't hear them.
it's more, like, annoying to their customers than exciting, you know? And then we did the gigs that were, like, 3 hours long, you know? And those are great, too. You learn tons of covers, and you, like, you know.
Endurance. How to stay present for 3 hours and still look like you're thoroughly enjoying it in the last half hour.
Right. And likely most people aren't listening. Like, it's kind of background, but... I have to say, though, even those gigs, all of them felt so special. Just, I look back on it with this, like, starriness in my eyes because it was, like, working, you know, we were hired. We were, like, you know, like, when you get paid for something, it's like, yeah.
I'm saying at this season.
Yeah.
This season you're recollecting. So me saying is not like, I know.
No, that's
Getting
so
booked
amazing.
is like, no, I'm talking about, like, the bars.
Yeah.
And my mom came up to visit, and I asked her if she would go with me because it's like the first time I've gotten to have like family to see that I mean beyond the stuff that we share online, and I still, even though she noticed that I was nervous and she asked about like is it like a really big thing? I'm like, well, it's not, but it is for me. Like it's like I call them small bigs. I'm like, it's really small. If anyone else heard it, they'd be like, oh yeah, you're just doing like a bar gig. You're like, yes, but this is like different from just being. Like having to like go ask for it too, like the ones where like someone finally like they inquire and they fill you. Like it's a shift to go from me calling at places or me stopping and going. I'm playing. I'm another singer songwriter, but you haven't heard of a girl who plays the guitar. Not many of us out there.
Gosh,
so it feels like small bigs, and and learning how to like play through even the mood, whether the TV or the bar, or if you feel like people are listening or not. And then when it gets really quiet, to also not freak out, because to go from a bar setting and then have a listening crowd, you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
You guys hate this? Are you bored? You asleep?
Yeah, totally.
Like, am I not funny? I shouldn't talk. I can't tune at the same time. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess I'm wondering like how you battle that, if you battle it, and how you battle the mind games of feeding off of the listeners, but not so much in a way that when they shift, that you feel yourself drop.
Honestly, that is so just it's just literally the decisions that you make about how you do it, and going back and forth between those settings. I felt like I learned so much about my songs in that time, to be like, oh, what grabs attention or what tunes people out, or like, you know, oh, actually, bantering is not our strong suit, so we're gonna like,
well, not to you. I'm like, yeah, you learned that one.
You know, like, and it's like, or the different kinds of banter that is like, you know, that isn't self-deprecating, that works because it's more, you know, like you just. I feel like just doing it is the thing. That's all that it takes.
To practice it.
And just to be like, make that decision for yourself of like, okay, when I'm in this space, I'm going to, that's the working out of how you want to do it, you know? And I feel like even we do that all the time. Just like, oh, these transitions of these songs, or this song in the set, or like, and then you'll get like, this is the other thing, is you'll like have ways that you think you have down pat, and every audience is so different that then you'll try to use the thing that normally works on a different audience, and then you don't get the same response, you know?
And you're still like conditioned to think that response doesn't happen, and when it doesn't, you're like,
right,
oh gosh, usually I feed off of the next response to pump me into the next thing. But I've watched you guys in those live settings, and most of the times I probably have to remind myself to just sit back and listen, because I'm watching, and not in a creepy way.
Oh,
but
yeah.
How do they do that? Like,
right.
How do you switch gears, or how do you even just musically keeping something like that going while still being present and not just disappearing into like a little like, come guys, let's come play music over here.
Yeah.
That's a lot going on.
Yeah.
At one time.
Yeah. I think that we're just always figuring it out. Because you see artists that are just like really witty, you know, and really quick. And that's the thing with us, is like we're a little bit more, you know, we tend to be a little bit more self-conscious instead of that very grounded, like, you know how comedians are they just like get what's going on in the room and they can react like that. That is not, you know, and we now have certain like jokey lines that we
can utilize.
Yeah, that we've like felt like always get a certain response, and then without talking about it, you just end up repeating it because it worked, you know. But yeah, it is such a it's you have to like do so much like improvising in the moment, you know.
Have you ever said anything on stage? I know we can cut this out if you don't like it.
Oh yeah,
where you literally walked away from the mic and went,
oh, all the time.
Okay. Like,
constantly. Yeah.
I said that.
Yeah. I went on a whole long thing one time, like, trying to disclaim that I wasn't singing about a woman or something, like, and I was like, oh, not that I was, like, singing about a woman, and then I was like, but not that would be bad. Like, not that I have any problem with that. And I just, like, went on this weird, like, oh, man, that was terrible. I was just, like, and then I said something like, I wish we were all lesbians, or something like that, you know, like just you just way overdo it, just trying to like
maybe that people will be like, yeah, and then no one's still responding.
Everyone's just blinking at you like you're an idiot.
So how was the morning after your concerts? And wait, are you a morning person?
No.
Yeah. If you're not a morning person, which you aren't, how do you negotiate the road life where you guys are up really late and you have to be at your best? Your voice is, you're being responsive to people, especially when you stay after and you interact with your fans or with other musicians, and then you get on your bus or whatever, and you're out, I'm guessing, like the next morning for a lot of these things or that night.
That is the beef. That is the beef that I have with the job. Is that
you're so much better than this. I'm just cracking like, we just said it. It's funny because you just said it. I'm so lame. You would think that I would have my stuff together because I teach, and then people would see me talk in public. They're like, how do you teach people? I'm like, I don't know.
It's different.
And develop a norm.
Oh, that's me.
Oh, you need to text about Mexico. No, now it sounds funny to me.
Are you sure you got your question in the video?
Oh, no, I'm going to ask it again. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So, you mentioned that you are a night person, and that, is it Megan?
Mm-hmm.
Megan is also a night person, and only Allie's the only one that maybe appreciates...
That would be my guess.
The mornings.
Yeah.
But from everything I've seen, having attended your concerts, or even just doing my own sort of watching and listening research, is all these artists are up really late for the music, and then just the energy expenditure on stage, and then they leave really late. And sometimes it even looks like people are like hanging out afterwards, whether it be with their fans or trying to enjoy the town that they're in, because they're doing this huge like tour, and then they're out that night or the next morning on the road to the next place.
The goal, I feel like as with any startup business, because that's totally what it is you give way more than you get for a really long period of time, and then it starts giving back to you from what you've invested. But for sure, it's taken years off of our lives, like, because, you know, with a bus, you know, you can go to bed really late and then arrive in the next town the next day, and that's that. But we've made a decision because of really good, frugal business managers that in order to not lose money on our tours, like, we're going to do a Sprinter van, because buses are, like, insane. And so we end up doing that, where we're done, you know, like, you'll typically play at 10, but maybe 11 on a headlining tour, and then you're out of the venue by 1 or 2, and then, or, you know, you can get out of there by midnight, if depending on how long it takes to count merch, and then, because we still don't have a merch person as well, which is another one of those things. It's like, you are just kind of doing it all, and then until you kind of start to delegate and you can afford to have different people doing different things. But the business grows it demands more expenses at the same time as it is getting more pay. So anyway, long story short, we've just had so many, you know, what I used to call clopins, you know, at a Starbucks job, of like, you're closing the store and you're opening the store.
Oh, clopins. I was like, where is
Yeah. Of like,
oh my gosh.
Then we have to get up at 7, or there's like a lobby call at, even 9 is hard sometimes, but then you drive 6 hours to the next place and you do it all over again. Or worse, you know, like, you have sometimes, especially in Europe with flights, like, you do that, you go to bed at that time, and then you have to get up at 5 for your flight. And then also, when you're promoting an album, the other part of it is all the radio promo and interviews and like things that are like, you know, you're trying to get the word out, and that all happens before you go into the show. So you have to
the hotels, or
no, you go to them,
the actual station.
You go to them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, and like, when you're driving in the Sprinter van, that means getting up 6 a.m. and then we get to the station by 1, and then you do the interview, and then we go to load in. So it's like, honestly, that's one of the hardest. I would say the driving and the sleeping is the hardest part of the job. Like, hands down. Yeah. And, you know, obviously you're investing that so that at some point you can do it in a more sustainable way. And that's kind of the general conversation for us, is it's like, the last couple of years we did it in this certain way, and it kind of kicked us, you know, kind of kicked us in the stomach a little bit. And so now we need to figure out a way to, and you can't go diva on it and be like, we're only doing this now, you know, like, but just like to scale it back just a little bit more, and just be like, okay, we are going to prioritize having a bus, you know, obviously if we can bring in the kind of revenue to make that a reality, but just kind of building the business in that way so that it starts to give back in the ways.
That's really good for us to hear about how this is your startup business too, just like the investment that it demands of you guys. And I think often, because it seems so strange, because it's both your craft and your art, which seems to be a totally it is a different aspect of your brain, but also balancing it to be wise, so that I guess I would assume, so that in the long run this can
Absolutely.
can work out.
Exactly. And you want to do it for a long time and sustain it.
You mentioned trying to tweak it to see if it's healthier for you guys. Do you feel like where you guys were at, or is it kind of like you're gonna have to push a little bit more in this way?
It's nuanced, because there are things that you don't want to say no to because you want to, you want to take the opportunities that come. So that's really what it is it's like a decision to, and we have an amazing team of people who's constantly going to be presenting us with opportunities, because that's their job, and they are so good, and they are constantly presenting us with opportunities. And so it is that decision of like weighing different opportunities over others, or even saying like, this seems like a really great thing, but I'm actually going to say no to that right now because to leave that open for a potential bigger dream and vision that we could have. So I think I'm realizing it starts with just like having the things that are your goal in mind, and then making decisions on everything else based on
where they align
with that.
Exactly.
If that is going to lead to that thing or not. Because I think we've spent so much time just saying yes to everything, and eventually you have to go, okay, I'm going to start strategically saying yes or no.
No, it makes total sense.
So we do and we don't. We do and we don't have control in that way.
Being on this side of it, I know the term arrived, it doesn't feel accurate, because even when your descriptions is still unfolding and growing, and that this is the new norm, but there's still things that you are perfecting and growing in. But from this side, it's really easy to assume like, well, they've made it, and there's just ease attached to it. But to be reminded of like, I mean, I know better. I feel like we know better, but to hear it like, no, this is still a labor for us. One, it's worthwhile,
right? Exactly.
But still, well, nonetheless, it's a labor, and we're still trying to figure out like how to do this well.
Chris and I talk about that a lot, because essentially like we are working our dream job, and it is a job, and it's like, these are the so he had someone say to him like, when you're picking a job, choose the problems that you want to have, not the like, this is how this is going to make everything perfect. Because I would say that the no sleep and the the driving and the emotional thing and being away from home and all that stuff, as like gut wrenching it as it can be, I choose that, because the act of getting to like create something and have it mean something to someone is so worth that for me, so like it's just that, and I think Chris being like a software developer and like being in the tech industry, there are different pros and cons, and so just that conversation of like, okay, what work am I choosing? It is going to be work. No, none of us can get away from work, because that I think is the thing. Is it's like you think, if I could do this dreamy thing, then it won't feel like work. That thing, that saying, like, do a job you love and you'll never have to work a day in your life.
And it almost feels unsatisfactory, because there are things I want to work on. And
even the work is what gives you the pride. The work itself is the gift of like, I get the satisfaction at the end of the day knowing I worked so hard to make that happen. And because you had agency, and because you were one of the driving engines of that happening, you get to feel proud, and you get to feel that sense of satisfaction. And I think that is a good part of it. So,
road story. I have a question.
Yes.
Especially being married now. What's the biggest challenge of those road spurts now that he's in Portland and you're going to Mexico?
Oh yeah. Well, that one's easy because it's just 3 days.
It's like a weekend away.
I mean, it is a constant figuring it out, and he's amazing. He endures so much that he has endured so much because he believed in this for me and for us. But it is a constant conversation, and things that might have worked on other tours don't necessarily work on the one that you're on, and because life is always changing and his circumstances are always changing, and how you feel on a given day.
I watched a handful of your interviews, even just to see what you guys are often asked. And it just made me think of how often maybe people show up for an interview, casual or formal, and maybe you have these things in mind that make you who you are and what do and inform what you do, but maybe you're never asked them because they already have an agenda for it.
Totally.
So, however you want, and even if it cuts, then I'll just have the audio.
The last word. Oh my gosh. I think that I always want to talk about songs, you know, and I was glad we got to talk about that process earlier, and just like different lyrics and different choices of like the craft itself too, you know. I think that's something that I think you spend so much time like laboring over it, and then you, to be honest, like other than just like seeing people singing it back, which is like incredible, but you don't oftentimes like talk about, oh, that's interesting that you chose that word there or that, you know, because that's great, because I actually have a bad habit of wanting to explain and clarify myself and be understood, when in reality it's like that actually belongs to other people now. And so me talking about why I chose that or like what the meaning is or whatever isn't even necessarily helpful, because it's like actually it should be whatever, you know. And I've heard interviews where people will refuse to answer those questions because they're like, they don't want to put that on. Yeah, and I admire that so much. So I simultaneously always want to talk about it, and also recognize that it's actually probably better for me not to, so that it can belong to, you know, everyone else. Yeah. So that's a roundabout answer to the question, but
that's a good answer.
Yeah.
I feel like it's humbling though, or it takes a degree of humility to say, this thing that I labored over, like you get to experience now.
Totally.
And I instead of me going, well, actually,
yeah, exactly,
this is where it originated.
Exactly. Of like, no, this song like inherently means this, so it can't mean anything else to me. You know. So yeah, other than that, oh man, I feel like we covered a lot of great things that mean a lot to me. Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And now I can take a nap.
Oh, do you need a nap?
No. I was thinking about you for going traveling tomorrow.
Oh gosh, yeah. It was like when I first was starting to learn the guitar too, so it's just like these two chords back and forth. The door just swung open, we walked through not knowing what could be on the other side. Our feet just started going, both hearts set on hoping, no thought to what we'd leave behind. Now what's lost is all that's on my mind. Time is a robber, taking what I know. I wanna hold on tighter, but the strongest arms can't let go. I know I shouldn't be scared, that door's always been there. I just didn't know how soon it'd come. Being kids just can't last, I guess that's why they call it past. But no matter where I run, you'll always be the place I'm from. Time is a robber,
but the strongest arms can let go.
Thank you.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.